She wasn't just a queen. She was one of the most dangerous political minds in history. Close your eyes and picture Cleopatra. What do you see? A seductive woman draped in gold, wrapped around powerful men, ruling through beauty alone. That image, the one Hollywood burned into your brain, is almost entirely fiction. A lie so perfectly crafted that the whole world believed it. But today, we pull back the curtain. Today, we go to the real Cleopatra. And trust me, the truth is far more fascinating than any movie ever dared to show you. Egypt, 69 BC. A child is born into a dynasty drowning in blood. The Ptolemaic rulers of Egypt were Greek by origin, and their royal family made Game of Thrones look like a bedtime story. Brothers poisoned brothers, sisters murdered sisters, mothers turned against their own children for a single shot at the throne. This was the world Cleopatra entered, not a fairy tale palace, a battlefield wrapped in silk. By the time she was 18 years old, Cleopatra was already reading the room with terrifying precision. Her father, Ptolemy XII, was a weak king, mocked by his own people, propped up by Roman money. She watched him grovel before Rome, watched him pay bribes just to stay alive. And instead of being embarrassed, she studied it. She memorized every move, every mistake, every calculation, because she already knew something most rulers never figure out. Power isn't about having a throne. Power is about knowing who actually controls the world and making yourself absolutely necessary to them. Here's the first fact that will shatter everything you thought you knew. Cleopatra was the first ruler in her entire dynasty, spanning nearly 300 years, to actually bother learning the Egyptian language. Every single Ptolemaic ruler before her spoke only Greek. They ruled Egypt without ever speaking to their own people. Cleopatra learned Egyptian. She learned Aramaic, Ethiopian, Hebrew, Parthian, and several other languages on top of that. Ancient sources suggest she spoke 9 languages in total, not because she was charming, because she understood that real influence requires real connection. She didn't just want to rule Egyptians, she wanted them to believe she was one of them, chosen by the gods themselves. And they did believe it. She dressed as the goddess Isis. She participated in Egyptian religious ceremonies with reverence and precision. The priests loved her. The people worshipped her. While other rulers sat distant on golden thrones, Cleopatra walked into temples, spoke the sacred language, and made an entire civilization feel seen. That's not seduction, that's genius. But Rome was coming, and no amount of divine theater could stop the most powerful military machine the ancient world had ever seen. When Julius Caesar arrived in Egypt in 48 BC, he wasn't there for romance. He was there to collect a massive debt Egypt owed Rome. He was powerful, calculating, and had absolutely no reason to care about a young dethroned queen fighting for survival against her own brother. And yet, Cleopatra did something so bold, it became legend. She had herself smuggled into Caesar's palace, reportedly rolled inside a carpet or a large linen sack, delivered directly to him. She bypassed every guard, every political barrier, every attempt her enemies had made to keep her away. She walked, or rather was carried, straight into the room where her fate would be decided. What happened next wasn't just romance. It was survival strategy executed at the highest level. Within hours of meeting Caesar, Cleopatra had made herself the most politically interesting person in the room. She spoke his language, literally and figuratively. She understood Roman politics, Roman ego, Roman ambition. She offered him something no one else could: a stable, wealthy Egypt that would cooperate rather than resist. In exchange, Caesar helped restore her to power, driving out her brother and co-ruler Ptolemy XIII, who drowned in the Nile during the conflict. The world calls this a love story. Historians call it something else entirely: a masterclass in political alliance building, and the relationship produced a son, Caesarion, whom Cleopatra declared the legitimate heir of Julius Caesar, a move that gave Egypt enormous political leverage. Rome trembled at the idea of Caesar's bloodline fused with Egypt's ancient throne. Then Caesar was assassinated, stabbed 23 times on the floor of the Roman Senate on the Ides of March, 44 BC. And just like that, Cleopatra's greatest protector was gone. A lesser ruler would have collapsed. Cleopatra adapted. Enter Mark Antony. Now here is where history has been the cruelest to her. The story of Cleopatra and Mark Antony has been painted as the ultimate tragic love affair. Two passionate fools who let their hearts destroy their empires. Shakespeare romanticized it. Hollywood dramatized it. And in doing so, they stripped Cleopatra of her agency completely. They turned her into a lovesick woman who made bad decisions because of a man. The truth is almost the exact opposite. When Cleopatra met Mark Antony in 41 BC, she arrived on a golden barge with silver oars and silk sails, surrounded by women dressed as sea nymphs, with the smell of thousands of burning incenses drifting across the water toward him. The ancient historian Plutarch wrote that people lined the shores just to watch her arrive. She didn't go to Antony as a suppliant. She went as a goddess. She made him come to her. She made him wait. She controlled every single detail of that first encounter because she understood something fundamental about powerful men. They are most persuadable when they feel like they are the ones doing the choosing. Antony was Rome's most powerful military commander at the time, controlling the eastern provinces of the empire. Cleopatra needed him, but she made sure he needed her more. Their alliance was strategic from its very foundation. Antony gave her territories: Cyprus, Crete, parts of the Middle East, enormously valuable land that restored Egypt's regional power. In return, Cleopatra funded his military campaigns. She didn't give away her kingdom. She invested it and expected returns. They had 3 children together, and the historical record shows genuine affection between them. But Cleopatra never once lost sight of what truly mattered: the survival and strength of Egypt. And then came Octavian, the coldest, most methodical political operator Rome ever produced. The man who would become Caesar Augustus, and unlike Caesar or Antony, Octavian was completely immune to Cleopatra's diplomatic genius. Because Octavian didn't want an alliance with Egypt, he wanted Egypt itself. The Battle of Actium, 31 BC, was the beginning of the end. Antony and Cleopatra's combined naval forces faced Octavian's fleet off the coast of Greece. It was a catastrophic defeat. Their ships scattered. Antony, believing Cleopatra had already surrendered or died, fell on his own sword. He died in her arms, a broken man, not a romantic hero. And now, completely alone, Cleopatra faced Octavian. This is the moment history remembers as her greatest defeat. But look closer at what she actually did. She negotiated. She bargained. She tried every political angle available to her. She reportedly attempted to sway Octavian the same way she had swayed others before him. He resisted, but he also stalled. He wanted to parade her through Rome as a war trophy in his triumphal procession. That was her fate if she surrendered completely. To be displayed in chains, before cheering Roman crowds, a living symbol of Rome's domination over the East. Cleopatra refused. On August 12, 30 BC, Cleopatra VII, last pharaoh of Egypt, last ruler of the Ptolemaic dynasty, took her own life. She was 39 years old. The exact method remains debated by historians to this day. The famous ASP story is likely dramatic legend rather than documented fact, but the choice itself was real. She chose death over humiliation. She chose to remain a queen in history's memory, if not in life, rather than become Rome's trophy. And here is what Octavian did immediately after. He killed Caesarion, her son, with Julius Caesar. He melted down Egyptian treasures and flooded Rome with the wealth. He renamed himself Augustus and became the most powerful emperor in Roman history. An empire built, in no small part, on the resources and the defeat of one woman. So ask yourself, if Cleopatra was just a seductive distraction, why did the most powerful empire in the world feel the need to rewrite her story so completely? Why did Roman propaganda spend decades painting her as a manipulative temptress? Because that was easier than admitting the truth. That for 21 years, a woman without a single Roman legion, without the military machine Rome possessed, managed to keep her kingdom alive, expand its territory, birth alliances that shook the foundations of the greatest empire on earth, and when defeat finally came, she faced it completely on her own terms. She wasn't destroyed by love. She was destroyed by the one force even her genius could not overcome, an enemy who had already decided she could not be allowed to win, no matter what. The Egypt she left behind was absorbed into Rome and never again rose as an independent power. The ancient world's most storied civilization ended not with a battle cry, but with the last breath of one extraordinary woman in a locked room in Alexandria. 2,000 years later, we still say her name, not because she was beautiful, not because she loved powerful men, but because she was, perhaps, the most politically brilliant leader of the entire ancient world, man or woman, and the greatest proof that history is always written by the people with the most reason to lie. Cleopatra didn't just play the game. She invented moves the game had never seen before, and even in losing, she made sure the world would never, ever forget her. The real Cleopatra wasn't a myth. She was a mirror. And what she reflected was so powerful, so threatening, that empires spent centuries trying to shatter it. They failed. The truth was never lost. It was only buried, and we just dug it up together. Like, subscribe, comment, drop a comment. Which part of Cleopatra's story hit you hardest? Share this video because she deserves the truth to be told.